Daniel Sports Central be giving you guys our Week 13 college football bowl projections for the 2023 college football season. We are headed into the final week of the regular season. We'll be talking about where things stand here today as we look forward to the final week and with the postseason right around the corner. So with that, let's get started looking at the Myrtle Beach Bowl. We got App State and Toledo, New Orleans Bowl, Liberty, and James Madison. And I still think James Madison and Jacksonville State find a way into bowl season. Cure Bowl, Arkansas State, and UCF. I think the Knights find a way to win this week. They get to the Cure Bowl, New Mexico Bowl, Boise State, and New Mexico State. LA Bowl, we got USC and UNLV. The fallout of USC the past few weeks has been honestly something that I don't think anyone really could have expected. They're a 7-5 team heading into bowl season now, which considering where this team, the Trojans, were a year ago, definitely a disappointing season for the Trojans. Independence Bowl, we got Iowa State and Texas State, got the Cyclones up to 6 wins this season. I do think they lose this weekend, but that still keeps them in the Independence Bowl. Bahamas Bowl, Jacksonville State and Ohio, Frisco Bowl, SMU and Troy, Boca Raton Bowl, Coastal Carolina and Northwestern. I don't think anyone saw that one coming. They're one of the more surprise teams of the season in Northwestern. They're up to 6 wins, and I do think they end up losing this weekend to Illinois, but either way, still keeps them in a bowl game and a successful season for the Wildcats, given all that's happened this past off-season. Gasparilla Bowl, Georgia Tech, and South Alabama. Georgia Tech up to 6 wins. They've had a successful season as well. Birmingham Bowl, San Jose State, and Georgia State. We got San Jose State flexing into that one there. And then Camellia Bowl, Syracuse, and Western Kentucky. Armed Forces Bowl, Texas Tech and Air Force. Got Texas Tech at 6 wins, Idaho Potato Bowl, Bowling Green, and Wyoming. 68 Ventures Bowl, UTSA and Georgia Southern, Las Vegas Bowl. We got Illinois and UCLA. I do think the Illini win this weekend, and same with UCLA. UCLA up to 8, and the Illini up to 6. Hawaii Bowl, Utah State, and Rice. Quick Lane Bowl, we got Rutgers and Northern Illinois. I do think Rutgers loses this week. Keeps them at 6 wins. And in the Quick Lane Bowl, First Responder Bowl, Louisiana and Colorado State, then Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Nebraska and Kansas. I do think Nebraska wins on Friday, gets them up to 6, taking on Kansas. That team I got projected for 8. Military Bowl, Virginia Tech and Memphis. Got VTech at 6 wins, and Memphis obviously one of the better teams in the American Athletic this season. Duke's Mayo Bowl, Auburn and Duke. Got the Tigers at 6 wins, and Duke on the other side at 7, even though down the stretch the Blue Devils have definitely struggled. Holiday Bowl, Clemson and Oregon State. This one I really hope happens, just with the storyline of DJ Uiagalelei, and also, Clemson on the stretch has played pretty well. So I've got Clemson projected for 8. I've got Oregon State projected for 8 as well. That would be a huge matchup, one of the better ones of this bowl season if it were to happen, given all the storylines. Texas Bowl, Kentucky and Kansas State. Got Kentucky at 6 wins, and then Kansas State on the other side at 9. Fenway Bowl, Boston College, get them at 6 against South Florida. Pinstripe Bowl, Minnesota and Miami. I've got the Golden Gophers winning this weekend, getting up to 6 wins, taking on the Hurricanes, who I got projected for 7. Pop-Tarts Bowl, Oklahoma State and Notre Dame. Still got Notre Dame in this position. I think at this point it makes the most sense, unless some chaos happens and Notre Dame finds a way into the New Year's 6, which seems pretty unlikely at this point. Oklahoma State got them projected for 9, and the runner-up in the Big 12 title game. Alamo Bowl, we got Oklahoma and Arizona. This one's a big matchup as well. Technically, Oklahoma State could make it into the Alamo Bowl, but OU is going to have more wins, though I do think. I've got OU projected for 10, but obviously they lose the tiebreaker to the Cowboys for the Big 12 title game, as the Cowboys did beat Oklahoma. But OU against Arizona, this would be a fun one as well. Arizona, I've got them at 9 wins this season. They've really emerged down the stretch, and honestly, they're playing as well as many teams in the country. And they could be competitive with, I think, most teams in your top 15 right now. Gator Bowl, Tennessee and Maryland. Got the Vols projected for 8, Maryland for 7. I've got Maryland as the 5th best team in the Big Ten with only 7 wins. The Big Ten really does not have much depth this season, even though they obviously got 3 powerhouses with Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Sun Bowl, Utah and North Carolina. Got the Utes projected for 8, North Carolina for the same. And then Liberty Bowl, Mississippi State and West Virginia. I think Mississippi State finds a way into bowl season, taking on West Virginia, a team I got projected for 7. Music City Bowl, Texas A&M and Wisconsin. I got the Aggies projected for 7, Wisconsin for 6, and then Arizona Bowl, Fresno State, and Miami, Ohio. Moving on to some of your high-level games, we got the Citrus Bowl, Iowa, and Ole Miss. I've got Iowa at 9 wins. I think they lose in the Big Ten title game, which they're going to be a pretty heavy underdog in that matchup, and taking on Ole Miss, a team I got projected for 10 in the Citrus Bowl. ReliaQuest Bowl, NC State flexing it for the Big Ten position because it'd either be NC State or Maryland, so you probably put NC State in there. I got them for 9, taking on LSU also for 9. This could be one of those interesting matchups as well. 2 teams that would be an interesting matchup. Now for your New Year's 6, we got the Cotton Bowl, Oregon and Alabama. This week I've had the Ducks in the college football playoff the last few weeks, but this week I am switching that around a bit. I've got Oregon in the Cotton Bowl taking on Alabama. I do think the Crimson Tide lose to Georgia in the SEC title game. Oregon in the runner-up in the Pac-12 title game to Washington. That puts the Ducks in this position. Though I will say, though, I do think it's more easy to say Georgia's going to beat Alabama than Washington's going to beat Oregon. So if pretty much the loser of the Pac-12 title game probably would be taking on Alabama. And honestly, it could go either way, too. The runner-ups of the Pac-12 and the SEC more than likely will be facing off in the Cotton Bowl. Orange Bowl, Louisville and Michigan. I've got Michigan in the Orange Bowl. I think they lose to Ohio State this weekend. Yeah, this is different than in past weeks as well. And I got the Wolverines taking on Louisville, a team I got projected for 11, and second place, losing to Florida State in the ACC title game. Your Peach Bowl, Penn State and Mizzou. Mizzou's really played well this season. Got them projected for 10, Penn State for 10 as well. 2 teams that are kind of in the background of the Big Ten and the SEC, but at the same time, really should not be overlooked. And then for your Fiesta Bowl, Texas and Tulane. Tulane is, at this point, the best group of 5 team, I think. Liberty just entered the rankings this week at 11-0, so you never know. It could be Liberty as well in the New Year's 6 this season. Either way, whoever has to play in the Fiesta Bowl, if you're Texas, which I do think it's going to be Texas right now, the Big 12 champion, you're probably going to be taking on a pretty weak group of 5 team in the New Year's 6 or in the Fiesta Bowl. But now for your college football playoff semifinals, this week is a whole lot different. We got Ohio State against Washington in the Rose Bowl. I think Ohio State wins this weekend now. That has changed from recent weeks now that I've looked further into both teams. I think the Buckeyes win. That puts them in number 2 with a Big Ten title game win, which I do think will happen over Iowa. So you got Ohio State against Washington, a team that I've got winning the Pac-12 now. They just beat Oregon State this past week, and I kind of doubted the Huskies there, and I don't want to doubt the Huskies again. I feel like they've found a way in every game this season. I think they'll find a way again in Las Vegas against Oregon next week. And then for your Sugar Bowl, we got Georgia and Florida State. I do think Florida State still finds a way into number 4, despite Jordan and Travis being out for the rest of the season. I mean, if you got an undefeated 13-0 Florida State, you have to put them in the top 4, I think, at this point. I think Texas probably will be your first one out. It's either going to be Texas. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios. I mean, this is one of the few seasons in this college football playoff era where there's a lot of depth, I think, around the country. There's still 8 really solid contenders, I think, in the country. But 13-0 Florida State, you got to keep them in the top 4, I really do think. And might not be pretty them taking on Georgia, but I do think Georgia finds a way into number 1. But with that, let me know your thoughts and comments below on these bowl projections, last edition of bowl projections before we head into the postseason. Appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.